All right. Um, cool. So we'll get started. Some people are still coming in, so I'll just be here for a few moments. But yeah, so thank you all for coming tonight. I see some new names. So welcome if this is your first session. I mean, welcome even if it's not your first session, of course. So my name is Julie, and these are yoga classes that are gentle, designed for people going through the IVF process, and it is safe for any point of that process physically. Um, for women, but men, of course, are welcome to join these sessions as well. So if you are doing this with your partner, or if you're a guy that's just here on your own, that's all great. Okay. Um, so yeah, we start every session with a centering and breathing exercise, and then we move into some warm-ups, and then from there we flow through postures. But again, these are typically quite gentle classes. We avoid things that we need to avoid, particularly for those who are in the IVF process physically. And so yeah, so if you're used to power yoga, this won't be that. But that's okay. There's time and space for all of these things. Um, so, of course, there are fireworks going off tonight, which seems to mean that the neighbors' dogs are barking like crazy. My dogs seem to be quiet right now. But if you haven't been before, there are two dogs and two cats that frequently make appearances in these videos. And Amazon, of course, seems to have started delivering at night. And I have a parcel that is supposed to come between 6 and 10 p.m., which means that as soon as someone knocks at the door, the dogs are going to go ballistic. So if that happens during this session, I'm really sorry. I really can't control that. So it's part of the practice, and part of the present moment. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with a centering and breathing exercise. So you have two options for that. You can either sit up nice and tall, and you can sit just sitting on the ground, or you can sit on a cushion or bolster or a block, a pillow. They don't have to be yoga props. Or if you have been sitting, say, at a desk or in a car all day, or if you've been standing all day, your lower back and your hips might really appreciate it if you lie down. In which case, when you lie down, you always have a couple options here. You can either bend your knees, placing your feet on the floor, or you can extend your legs all the way out, just letting them flop and display. And as long as that's comfortable for you, that's great. If you have lower back sensitivities, then you will want to bend your knees and place the feet on the floor there if you're lying down. And it's not that one is right, sitting or lying down, and one is wrong. It's just about how you're feeling in this moment. Okay? So find the position that feels best to you. Again, either sitting or lying down. And take a few rolls of the shoulders. So you're going to inhale and roll the shoulders up, and then exhale them down and back. And again. And one more. And then just exhale, relax the shoulders, and relax the hands. Either facing the hands up for receiving energy, or down for grounding energy. And then close the eyes if they're not yet closed. And take a few deep inhales through the nose, With exhale, sighing or blowing the air out of the mouth. Just do that a few times. Inhaling calm. Exhaling, sighing out, letting go of any stress or any tension. Any external sounds you hear, like one of my dogs ballistically digging through a blanket, or anything on your end, fireworks or anything else, see if you can just let it all resonate as vibration. So not good, not bad, just part of the now, part of this moment. Other beings, other creatures living their lives. And then from here, I'd like you to take your awareness to your natural breath. Just start to notice your breath. Notice how the breath falls in your body. What the breath can tell you about this moment in your body. And then take the awareness to the face and just start to soften through the brow. Relax down along the corners of the eyes and the corners of the mouth. Loosen the jaw. And take that awareness down to the hands. And also relax through the palms and the fingers. So often we store tension in the hands without even knowing it, without even realizing it. And same for the face. So see if you can just soften the face and the hands. And then from here, if you are based in the UK, you hopefully know that we are starting a national lockdown today, and you might have feelings about that. You might have stress about that. Some people might be feeling good about that. Some people seem to thrive during it, others really struggled with it. Whatever you're feeling about it, know that it's okay however you feel. It's just how you feel. But I want you for a moment to feel a sense of interconnectedness that we don't often think about. So, in this moment, I'd like you to just think about the room in which you find yourself right now. And think about the floor. And if it's a wood floor, a stone floor, some other kind of floor, I'd like you to, for a moment, just see if you can imagine all the people that went into making that floor possible. So, for example, if it's a wood floor, you would have needed somebody to plant the trees, somebody to potentially look after that land, to then cut the trees, somebody to transport the lumber, somebody to process it using machines that other engineers created, and many parts of machines that probably many different people created. And that would have been transported to a store where someone who had created a design then advertised. And someone paid you or whomever put this floor in so that you then spent that money and bought it, or whoever lived there before. And you've cleaned it, probably. And you've probably cleaned it with products that were designed by different people, and bottles that were designed. And really, when we think about it, most things in our homes have the ideas and the work from thousands of individuals, thousands, because we're constantly building off each other's ideas. And so I'd like you just to really take a moment to appreciate that interconnected nature, again, that we don't usually think about. The fact that you are connected to tens of thousands of people just in your home, some from places that you will never go, many of whom probably aren't even alive anymore. And just take a moment to appreciate that in your life in this moment, you have that connection to so many others. And take the awareness and bring it back to your breath now. And start to deepen the breath. So you inhale through the nose and take the breath down into the belly so that the belly rises with the inhale. Exhale out the nose and feel the belly roll back toward the spine. So inhale, belly rises. Exhale, belly falls. And then deepen your breath further. Inhale through the nose, fill up, belly, ribs, chest, expanding all the way up through that inhale. Exhale out the nose, chest, ribs, and belly contract. So we practice full deep breathing, inhaling, expanding slowly up, exhaling, contracting slowly down. Those of you who have been before, you'll probably remember that this 3-part breath is a basic form of pranayama or yogic breathing. And this breath is known as a dirgha breath. But if you'd like and you're able, you can come into an ujjayi or an ocean wave sounding breath by constricting in the back of your throat in the epiglottis. So it's as if you're inhaling and exhaling the word home through the nose to create that audible wave sound. And if you don't have this yet, don't worry. If you want a longer tutorial on this, there's one on my YouTube channel, which I can give you information about at the end. But just whatever you're doing, whether dirgha or ujjayi, I want you to practice just breathing deeply and slowly. Inhaling, expanding, exhaling, contracting. Just take a few more rounds of deep breath here. Just appreciating your ability to breathe here and now. Take another breath here. And then start to mentally ready yourself for movement. And just in your own time and in your own way, draw some movement back into your body, just letting yourself stretch, roll around, yawn, sigh, just do whatever feels good to you. Definitely doesn't have to be yoga poses by any means. Just a bit like when you wake up in your bed in the morning and you just sort of start to stretch out before you might even open your eyes. Take that same kind of idea now. Okay. And then from here, I'd like you to take the next minute to just gradually bring yourself up to standing, but really take your time coming up. Stretch out along the way, be expressive, be creative, be playful. There's no right or wrong way to come up to standing here. Again, just drop into your body and have a little play with how you come up. So when you come all the way up to standing, just bring your feet up to a hip distant stance and square the toes forward. And of course, I'm still trying to figure out how to manage. That works more or less, the heights with the chair and everything in this room. Okay, so we have the feet at a nice hip distance stance. We're squaring the toes forward. I want you to take a big inhale and lift the arms. And then exhale and release. You can just bend your knees, sweeping down. Inhale, lift. And exhale, down. And one more, and inhale, lift. And then this time as you exhale, I want you to release your right hand down, bend the elbow, and place the right hand into the waist, just in and up under the ribs. And you're going to inhale, lift that left arm up to the sky. And then exhale, gently press in under your ribs, and you're going to tip, sending that left hip out toward the left side. Right arm is really reaching up and over. So things to avoid are collapsing into the spine and just sort of lazily doing that. We really reach out and over, so we're opening it up. And then inhale back through center, lifting that right arm. And exhale, take the left hand down, place it into your waist, in and up under your ribs. Inhale, right arm up. And exhale, tip it across. Again, really reaching up and over, elongating through. Okay, inhale, lift all the way up. Now, from here, I want you to interlace your fingers, and I'm just going to drop down, but you don't need to. It's just so you can see my arms. And then you're going to turn your palms up and just really stretch up as high as you can there. Nice deep breaths. Now we're going to lift up through the fingers, and then from here, unwind your arms and take them to a T. Okay, and then once they're at that T, take an inhale. And then as you exhale, swan dive and fold forward. Hang the head, hang the arms. And I want you to let your head be really heavy here. Give it a few shakes, yes. And then a few shakes, no. And again, yes, yes, yes. And no, no, no. Just helping to release through the cervical spine. And then just hang the head down. Take another breath. And then start to bend your knees and slowly ragdoll your body all the way up. Roll the shoulders up and back, coming back up to standing. Okay, now, today we're going to, so we almost always focus on the hips. The hips are important for pretty much everyone. I think everyone should do yoga for the hips, really, but particularly for people going through IVF, working on this region is very important. We can store a lot there emotionally as well, so just starting to open it up can usually be quite a helpful thing. But today, yeah, we're going to play with the hips, but also a bit with the shoulders. So what I'd like you to do now is I want you to really ground through the feet and find that foundation. So into the balls, the sides, the heels of each foot, and shift the weight as evenly as you can across both feet. And then we zip up through the pelvis, zip up through the core, like we're doing up a tight pair of trousers. Shoulders are back. Let the hands relax down. And in a moment, we are going to come up into a balance, which I don't think you guys like very much because I have the IVF playlist on YouTube of all of our classes, and that one has like no views. All the others have some views. But we need to do a bit of balancing every now and then. So we're standing in that gentle mountain, and I want you to shift your weight a little bit side to side, foot to foot. And then shift your weight into that right foot. And I want you to shift it as evenly as you can. Again, focusing on the side, the ball, the heel of that foot. If at any point you need to use a wall, please use a wall. or any other prop you have available to you. Likewise, if you need to take any socks off at any point, please do as well. Okay, now we're going to turn that left knee out to the side and bring the left ankle up above that, left heel up above the right ankle. And if this is enough, stay here. If you want to take it further, you're going to take that foot up into the calf. Avoid the knee. I know it can feel intuitive, but it's not a great habit to get into long term. Or you might be able to take the foot all the way up into the inner thigh. Okay? And then we're going to take an inhale and lift through the arms. And take the palms all the way up into a high namaste. Now, I'm actually going to come out of this because I want to show you something with the arms, but stay in this. Okay, so you stay there. And okay, what I would like you to do now is, so your hands are up in that high namaste. I want you to turn the backs of the hands together and cross your right hand behind your left. Then inhale, lift up through the arms, draw the elbows together behind the head if the shoulders allow. If the shoulders don't allow, it's okay. You have the arms here instead. So what we're doing here is we're helping to open up the upper back and shoulders. As we balance, balancing is great for the joints. Also very good for bone density. So take a couple more breaths here. And if you find that you're struggling with the balance, it's okay. Just breathe into it, play. You don't need to take it too seriously. It's okay. Okay, exhale. Start to bend the elbows, unwind the arms, and then very gently release that left foot all the way back down. And let's stretch the front of the left foot while we're here. So we're going to take a little step back with your left foot, very, very gently. You're going to roll over the toes, letting them curl, but I want you to be super gentle with that because sometimes they can get cramped. So you just want to take a very soft roll forward and then bend both knees and just slightly push forward. So you should feel a stretch through the front of that left foot. Oh, okay. And then we release down and we find the foundation again. Take a few cleansing breaths. Inhale, lift up. And exhale down. And again. And one more. And inhale, lift all the way up. And exhale, release. Inhale, roll the shoulders up. Exhale them down and back. Again, find your gentle mountain, that foundation, pressing through the feet, zipping up through the pelvis, zipping up through the core. Deep breaths. And gently sway a little, side to side, foot to foot. And then this time we sway into that left foot. And you turn that right knee out to the side, right ankle coming up above the left. We take the foot up into the calf or all the way up into the thigh. You find what feels right to you. Okay, and then we inhale, we take the arms up, high namaste, coming into Vrikshasana, into tree pose. Turn the backs of the hands together again. So remember, backs of the hands. And then cross your left hand behind your right. And you're going to inhale and lift up as high as you can there. Nice deep breaths. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Okay. Start to bend your elbows. Gently unwind. Take that right foot down. And then I want you to just take a little step back with that right foot. Roll over the front of the toes again, very gently. And then we can just start to bend the knees. We just push forward a little bit through the front of that foot, feeling that stretch. Okay, and we bring it back up. And then feet again, hip distance stance. Take one big inhale, lift the arms. Oh, and exhale, release the arms down. Inhale the shoulders up. And then exhale them down and back. And interlace your fingers behind your back and start to draw down through the arms so that as you do, you're going to have the chest just pop forward that little bit there, okay? And then put a little bend in your knees, just a micro bend. And we're going to just square forward, take an inhale, micro bend through the knees. And then exhale, hinge forward from the hips, hang the head and let those interlaced fingers hang back and away from your lower back. Oh, and just take a few deep breaths here, starting to open up the shoulders. Now, don't worry about how far you get with this. I know some people, they're very close to the lower back, and that's okay. You only go to the point that your body is happy to go to, and there's nothing wrong with however far you go, okay? Now, if you want to add on to this, just imagine that you have a wooden spoon in your hand and you're stirring the air behind you with it. But the knees and the hips are not invited to the party for the shoulders, okay? This is just an isolated roll through the shoulders. And then take it the other way. Okay, and then take your hands, bring them back toward your lower back. Start to bend your knees, unwind your fingers, and reverse all the way up to the sky. Exhale. Release your arms all the way down. And then from here, inhale, same as usual, shoulders up, exhale and back. Just always giving them some extra love there. Okay, now I want you to take your feet together as close as you can. Some people can't do this very easily. There's a lot of reasons for that. And again, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. I struggle with this. My knees sort of feel like that one's fighting for space in front of the other. So what we're going to do here, let me just show you this really briefly. I'm actually going to show you partially from this side. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to bend the knees, and then we're going to lift the heels as we come down, and then we take the hands down, and then we tip the knees wide so that the balls of the feet and the heels come together. And I'm just going to tip that slightly down so it's super clear as we do it together. I'll just be headless for a moment. It's fine. Okay, so again, we have the feet together. Let's do this together now. And we're going to bend the knees. And so we sit down a bit into the hands. And then I want you to take your hands down to the ground, lift your heels, and let your knees go wide. So one last time, just for anyone that might be confused. Again, we bend the knees, we lift the heels, hands come down, knees go wide. These aren't the best trousers for demonstrating this, but they have cats on them on the upside. So what I'd like you to do here is I want you to try to bring your heels and the balls of your feet together as best you can. Oh, someone's joining us. Oh, okay. There we go. Okay, so you have, again, the balls of your feet and your heels together. And you are now going to pull up through your core. Take your hands and just let them rest down onto your legs. And just breathe into that. And of course, Luna just heard people in the kitchen. So she's very food driven. Take another couple breaths here. This is all we're going to do here today. This is a tough one. I know it's the tough one. Okay. Take your hands down. And then I want you to walk forward, uncurl your toes. Your shins are going to, and just let them sigh. Let your shins sort of have their sigh of relief for a moment. And then I want you to sit back into your heels, okay? So your big toes are together behind you, a bit like they're in a kiss behind you, okay? So big toes hanging out together. And then I want you to take your hands down and take your knees as wide as you can. So wide, wide, wide. Okay? And then from here, we're actually going to do that Iliopsoas stretch that we throw in every few weeks. So the Iliopsoas, for anyone not familiar, it's this muscle that starts at the base of the spine and it wraps in front of the hips and then connects to the femur, to the front of the top of the leg bone there. And this muscle on both sides, the iliopsoas, it's often responsible for lower back pain. And so what we're trying to do here is do a nice lower back release, again, because it's great for the lower back. So what I'd like you to do now is I want you to walk forward, and then you're going to push your bottom back toward your heels. So you hopefully start to feel a stretch on the inside of the upper leg. Now, you can play with coming a little lower. I'll tip that more in just a moment. But the thing I want you to avoid is sort of that lurch forward that can happen as you go lower. And then instead of releasing pressure from the lower back, you end up creating more of a back bend, and then you create more pressure in the lower back. So we want to keep the bum pushing back. So even if the head comes all the way down and the arms are out front, we're pushing it back, feeling that stretch on the inside of the upper leg. So just keep breathing into that. And then start to lift the head, lift the heart, walk yourself back and gently draw your knees in. So your knees are coming in line with your hips. And then for a moment, just take a child's pose. So the more traditional thing compared to what we just did. So we've got the knees in and the bottom's coming back toward the heels. And we're just gonna walk the hands out in front of us, taking the forehead down. Just sigh out. Take a few more breaths there. Okay, and then start to inhale. Lift the head, lift the heart. And I want you to take your arms wide. So if you've got a mat, they're coming off, the hands are coming off the edges of the mat. And if you don't have a mat, that's totally okay. Just take them wider than shoulder distance. And then you're going to take your left arm and cross it over your right. So like a cat stretching out its foreleg. And then just rest your head down between your upper arms. Oh, so you're getting this lovely side stretch through the torso, and you can send your weight through your hips a little bit more toward your left hip there, so you really go deep into that stretch. And then take your left hand back, cross right over left. I know we tend to do this one most weeks, but it's just because it's such a great side stretch. So now we let the head rest between the upper arms, and we take the right hip or the weight a little more toward that right side, toward that right hip. And just breathe into it. Take the hands back to center. Let the forehead come down. Tuck the chin in toward your chest. And slowly round all the way up so that you are sitting on your shins. Now, from here, we're going to do a few things where we're standing on the knees. So if you've got a super hard floor and a thin mat, you have a couple options here. You may want to lay a towel or a blanket folded up underneath your knees. Or if you have a mat, you can just put a little fold in your mat and bring your knees up onto that fold just to help protect the knee there. Okay, and then we're going to rise up onto the knees. Make sure that the knees are coming into a stacked position under the hips. So sometimes we can sort of come up and they TP out, and I just want you to try to make sure that they're just vertical in that rectangle. And from here, we're going to come into a version of Camel Pose for any of you that know it, but it's a slightly different version. And I'm going to give you 3 options. I'm going to start with the hardest one, and I'm going to say right away that this is probably more for those of you who've already done quite a bit of yoga. Just the first option, I mean. This option is the harder one, so don't worry if you can't come into this. For those of you that are sort of hardcore yogis already, it's just something to play with, okay? So I'm actually going to turn my back to you for a moment, not because I don't like you, but so I can show you this, okay? I think that does it. Okay, so if you want the harder option, what you're going to do is you're going to take your hands around behind your back into a reverse namaskar. Okay, that's not actually the full thing. Then you're going to tip your fingers up into your ribs, letting your wrist come down. So it's like you're creating a shelf for your upper back there. Now, that is pretty hard on the wrists for anyone. That can be hard on the wrist for anyone, period. But particularly if you're not used to these sorts of movements. So fear not, there are 2 more options. Option 2, as long as your shoulders are happy with it, is just to take the heel of your hands and place them along the ribs here. So again, it's like you're creating the shelf where you're holding up your rib cage. If your shoulders do not go back into this position where you're sitting back like this, instead, what you're going to do is you're going to take your thumbs and bring them to your ribs there, and then hold up your rib cage that way. Okay? So you find the option that is best for you. So again, you've got the palms together and then the fingers turning up into the lower back, the heel of the hand turning up, the fingers turning up into the upper back, not lower back, heel of the hand up into the upper back, or thumbs holding up the ribs there, okay? Now, again, we're thinking about creating length through the spine rather than collapsing down. We are active with this. So what I'd like you to do here is take an inhale, really elongate up. And then exhale, just gently send the hips, send the pelvis forward, open the chest up toward the sky. And I want you to think about a fountain, a water fountain, like it's lifting up and reaching up and back. We're not just collapsing down, but again, that lifting up and back. Now, you can keep the chin into the chest. That's the safest option for the neck, or you can let it drop back, but only if that feels okay to you. Okay. Tuck the chin back into the chest, pull up through your core, release your hands. I want you to inhale, roll the shoulders up, exhale them back. Interlace your fingers behind your back, palms together like you did earlier when we were standing. Draw the arms down, and then I know that this starts as a back bend, but then we release. So we have the fingers interlaced, we inhale, and I want you to exhale, send your bottom back. This should feel pretty good. Take your forehead down to the ground, and then roll up into the top of your head and let those interlaced fingers hang back and away from your lower back. Now, I know that sometimes it feels counterintuitive to be on the top of the head, but it's actually the safest option. So you don't want to put a lot of weight into the middle of your forehead. The reason being that you're actually going to contract the neck as you do that, and we never want to put pressure into the neck when it's contracted. Morbid, but the reason the brace position is the chin to the chest with the hands here is because the head and neck can take a lot of pressure from the front of the head. So you really want to make sure that you're on the top of the head rather than on the front of the forehead. Sorry, I think I said the front of the head just then, but what I meant was the top of the head is the safest option compared to the front. And we just breathe into this. This is Yoga Mudra, or the symbol of yoga pose, so called because it brings the head below the heart. Okay, and then draw your hands back down toward your lower back. Start to unwind, bring your arms to the sides of your body, forehead down. Oh, take a moment just to sigh it out there. And then start to walk your hands out in front of you. And I just want you to walk yourself up onto your forearms. So you're coming into a forearm tabletop. So your elbows are in line with your shoulders and your knees are in line with your hips. So the bum is up. Okay, so it's not like a child's pose where the bum is back, but bum is up. And then I want you to walk your arms out in front of you and take your forehead down to the ground. And we come into a puppy pose. So it's like a dog in a play bow, getting ready to hop or pounce on something. And just take a few deep breaths here. Again, this is for the shoulders and the upper back. One more breath here. And start to walk yourself all the way back up. If you have a fold in your mat, just go ahead and push it out. And if you have a table, you definitely don't have a table under your knees. If you have a towel under your knees or a blanket, just go ahead and take those out to the side now. And then gently roll yourself all the way up and take your hands out to one side and release the legs out in front of you. Okay, now we're going to walk ourselves down onto, so you might need to walk your feet forward so that you can then bring yourself all the way down onto your back. And then once you come onto your back, just take a moment to sigh it out there. Okay, take another breath here. Okay. Now, I'd like you to just gently walk your feet together. So again, just like you did when we were standing earlier and coming down into that balancing squat, we're bringing the insides of the legs so that they're touching. And just relax your shoulders and then start to let your knees tip out to the sides with the soles of your feet tipping together. So we're just taking that nice supine bound angle, Supta Baddha Konasana. Gently draw the legs back together, feet back onto the ground. And then draw your knees in toward your chest, hug your legs. Oh, and just take a moment to sigh it out. And then thread your hands up between your legs. And I just want you to take hold of the insides of your feet and then drop your knees. I know it feels ridiculous, but drop your knees down toward your armpits, soles of the feet up to the sky. So we're just coming into this lovely hip opener. Again, hip openers, these sorts of moves. These are actually, this sort of move is particularly good for those of you who are going through that embryo transfer phase. So anything particularly like this, when you are on the back and you have the feet up and the hips open, these are great poses. You can make it a little softer if you find that this feels like too much of a struggle. You can also just hold the knees and let the feet be more toward the sides. But again, just find what feels right to you. Okay, take one more breath here. And then gently unwind, release the hands, and release the feet all the way back down. Now, you have two options here, okay? So you can either keep your body like this. This is better if you have lower back sensitivities, or you can just extend the legs all the way out, letting them flop and splay. And just relax the shoulders, relax the arms. Close your eyes. And take a few deep inhales through the nose, with exhales sighing or blowing the air out of the mouth. And once you've sighed out a few times, just return to the natural rhythm of your breath. And start to notice your breath again. And just let it take over as it always does. Feel your eyelids become heavy over your eyes. Feel the back of the head and the backs of the shoulders just weighing down, heavy and relaxed on the ground. Let your arms and legs melt down. And take a moment to also appreciate your connections to this earth below you and all around you. That through the act of breathing alone, you are part of an ecosystem. And again, you are connected to other creatures in ways that we can't even comprehend. Take a moment to appreciate all that the earth gives you, all the ways that it nourishes you. And just remember that the earth is always there, and silly as it might sound, sometimes when we're feeling ungrounded or unbalanced, it can help just to step outside. It can help even more to step outside on grass, on earth with bare feet. I know it's a little cold to do that in the UK, but even for a few minutes, so what if you get dirty, wash them off. We are connected and we also can connect when we need to. So if you feel like you are isolated again, particularly if you're someone now that has to stay home again, just remember that there are ways that you are connected to so many other people and creatures that we can't even see, but they're there. And then take your awareness and bring it back to your breath. And start to deepen the breath through the nose. Inhale through the nose, take the breath down. Deep, deep inhale and exhale, sigh out. Do that a few times. Draw some movement back into the fingers and into the toes. Gently roll to one side. And then bring yourself all the way back up to seated. And take the hands together into prayer in front of the heart. Gently bow, honoring your body, your light, your practice, and this earth. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. Some of what we did this evening was challenging. But again, we always just need to meet our bodies where they're at. And so sometimes that might mean that you do the movement just to a certain point, and that's okay. So yeah, so all of our sessions are a bit different. Some things we do are a little more challenging, some things we do are a little easier. So for those of you joining us, if you thought, oh, don't worry, it's different every week. We're just always finding ways to open up the body. So I hope that you all have a good start to this period, this month, and yeah, we are back at this time next week, and I hope to see you then. Thank you so much. I'll put this on YouTube, so you can always get the old sessions as well on the playlist. It's under my name. The channel is Julie Ela, E-L-A, Grace. So have a beautiful week, guys, and see you soon. Thank you.